What up, guys? This is Kaki Healing with another spiritual podcast. My mission is to spread joy. Today, I want to talk about something that creates the most joy and the most despair. What is that? Imagination. Power of your imagination. We have such a great tool inside our head. We can think and create anything inside of our brain. And what do we use it for? Mostly for evil. I call black magic. There's white magic, creating good for life, and black magic, for destruction, evil. And it's because we're not trained on how to use this powerful tool. It's like giving a gun to somebody. You have to spend time with it, learn how to use it. And if you give it to somebody that's incompetent, they're just going to create so much evil and destruction in the world. That's what the imagination can even affect your self-concept, how you look at yourself. I knew this woman. I was in the Czech Republic. She was so confident. And she was speaking English as if she were a native speaker. Like, she held herself. She had this attitude. I was like, oh, I'm going to speak English. I'm just going to be so happy that I'm going to speak it. You don't have to understand it. I'm a boss. I knew this other guy who had the same thing. He was from Kurdistan. He made a lot of mistakes, just like the woman did. But he just had this power. He literally said, I look at myself like a king. Back at home, I was a king. People loved me. And it's because he saw himself as a king and manifested in his reality. With imagination, it's 100%. To manifest anything, you have to see it first. You have to imagine it first. And that is for the good or the bad. If you see yourself failing, probably will happen. If you see yourself being successful, it has a higher chance of happening. You have to see it first in your mind's eye. Why don't we always think of the positive? Because let's face it, sometimes we feel like, oh, it's more logical that the bad thing is going to happen. Because we deny our power. We deny this gift. We think, oh, imagination, it's just, it's for kids. What if I told you it's the most powerful tool you have? Because think about what it does in our life. It creates our state of being. What you focus on, you will feel. I imagine just like having like a supercomputer. Just the thought of me buying a new computer just makes me so happy. I just imagine it. I see that I have it. I imagine playing all these games on it. And it just makes me feel so good for something that doesn't even exist. Or if you focus on something bad in your life, something that, like in the future something bad could happen, like your house being burned down, something like that. It creates fear. It literally you have a chemical reaction based on what you're imagining. And that's how powerful it is. It affects your body. It affects your state of being just by on what you are creating in your mind. That's the thing. We're always creating. We're always in a state of creation. We just have to guide ourselves to create in the way that we want to create. Because as the Course in Miracles states, projection creates perception. We always project something. We see a boss. We project our past bosses on them, or our past experiences. We just see the past. Because the thing about our reality, we're already hallucinating this reality. We don't understand. Maybe we understand like 1%, not even 1% of what's going on. Just think about how big the universe is. All these playing parts, we can't process all this information. The brain can only process so much information when there's billions of bits of information coming out. For example, whales, they communicate in this really low pitch moan, and we humans can't pick it up, but equipment can. Think of all that information that's going out in the world that we are just not capable of picking up, So we're just dreaming in this reality anyway. Why don't we hallucinate? Like when you're worrying, you're hallucinating. You're hallucinating. You're just thinking about the worst outcome, and you're creating it in your mind's eye, and it's not there. It's not real. So why don't you use that power for good? Because worry is just 100% wasted energy. I can't tell you how much. Like, I would worry so much, especially in high school and middle school, just thinking about my homework, my tests, and it doesn't mean anything for me right now. It was just wasted energy, wasted life, when I could have just been in that present moment imagining something great, something abundant, something thriving. Because when you worry, you're going into that black magic. You're imagining the worst outcome. And I hear some critics, like my inner critic as well, just like, oh, if you don't worry, how can you guard yourself, protect yourself? And that's a trap, because if we keep thinking about how can I guard myself, how can I protect myself, you can't move forward, you can't get outside of your comfort zone. Just think about it, when you flip the switch from worry onto positive expectation, you have a super strong vision of something that you want to manifest. Like I mentioned, like a computer, having that vision, like, oh, I'm going to save so much money, I'm going to have a plan, and it's going to be mine. It's exciting. Or your life vision. I just started a healing practice. I'm doing Facebook Lives now, and I have this vision of me having clients, helping people, and it's so motivating because I feel it. It's real in my reality. I can imagine it right here, right now. It motivates me to move forward and to be my best. So look at Henry Ford. In his time, there were no cars. He completely made something up, and now cars are they're everywhere, man. They didn't exist, and now it's taken over the world because of one guy's idea. It's absolutely insane to me. And think of all these other things. Like I like to even think about like the navigation on your phone. It was just some guy's idea, and look how it's affecting our lives right now. Everything comes from imagination first. It has to come from everything in this world was a thought first. Even nature was a thought of God. The most important thing, I would say, for imagination is you're creating something new, because from imagination, you're not focused on the past, because when you're thinking about manifesting from the past, you're only getting from the past. But when you tap into your own creativity, what could be a potential, just like Henry Ford, seeing that car, nothing like it in the past, nothing absolutely like it, but he made it in his mind's eye and put it into physical reality. That is true creation. Not recreating something from the past. He made something 100% new, and it was revolutionary. We could do that in our own lives. Tapping into our own imagination, imagining how we want our lives to be. Not how they were in the past, but how we want them to be. And having that strong vision to move forward. Look at kids. They use imagination all the time. I did my observations. I'm studying English, and I had to observe a preschool. And these kids, they were playing nonstop. They were having the time of their lives at recess for about 5-6 hours. It was almost like a daycare where I was at. But still, they could play for so long because they were using their minds for magic. Imagine if, as an adult, you're stuck in this preschool for 4 to 5 hours. It's a good thing I had an audiobook. But those kids, they made every moment fun because they used their imaginations to play, to pretend to be something. They pretended that I was a monster trying to chase them. And we played that game for hours. And it made life magical. It made it magical for them. Now, I implore you guys to start using your imagination the way you want it to be. Start using imagination for good. Imagine the way you want to be. Imagine the way you want to feel, to behave, because that is true creation. So many of us, me included, we have our moments that we recreate the past. We don't tap into our creativity, and it's such a wasted tool. Let's use our imagination for good. Let's start manifesting our lives the way we want it to be, and start using that creative force, that potential that we all have. Alright guys, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys next time. Take care and God bless.